Craig Campbell went on record to say he did actually have ants in his pants at a 2-hep contest in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
You have to remember if it's Austin or Houston, because that's the segue into the next, you know, the next chapter.
So here's what I'm doing. That's the Joe Johnson ants in his pants, and the stuff before it. Let's look at what we would do.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of other good stuff.
But I've saved that in. You see the like chapter 2 right underneath.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh shit! Hold on. I over scroll. I'm an over scroller. I'm an over selector.
You over selected when you copied it?
Yeah, I over selected. No, hold on. Okay, so the Mickey Conti piece. I'm just trying to like chop down. Wait, I want the. All right, let's go through the intro, and you tell me if there's good stuff on the intro until we get to.
Hey,
Joe.
hello, Joe. Dave, Joe. How are you? Sorry I'm late, guys.
We can take out the apology.
If Joe.
Oh, that's all right. It actually that worked out really good. That worked out really well. Yeah. So
But I have my wife's glasses on, guys.
Joe meet Joe and Joe meet Joe.
Yeah, Joe. I don't think we've ever met. You're.
This is. Who are you? Yeah. Hey, who are you? Really? How did you get in the room with me? Let's be honest. You're Eddie Murphy's brother? What? Who let you in?
No, right.
I am. It is a character quality of my persona that I am obsessed with fame, and it's part of my persona.
Yeah, and like when you said earlier today, when you were talking about before Brian Huffman would even talk to you.
Before Brian Huffman would even talk to me.
I thought you guys have been friends forever. I didn't think there wasn't that.
Well, we, and now being completely honest here, in 2011? Yeah, in 2011, I went to Jomo Pro. I got sunburned. I absolutely broke down. My run was so bad that I stopped in the middle of it, laid my bike down, and did a handstand. I was so pissed. And then at the end, I did a bar ride, but I jumped up so fast to get on the bars. Todd Carter was like, "Did you do a Pop-Tart?"
Really?
Yeah. But anyway, so that was the contest where Brian Huffman was at the head of the table, and I was sitting next to Brian Huffman, not talking so much. And then I was like, "Oh, hey, it's his birthday." But then in Buffalo at Battle at the Border, that's when I first actually talked to Brian, and I opened with, "Hey, I heard you were in the X Games," and he goes, "Oh man, why do you want to talk about that?" I'm like, "And I heard that you don't like to talk about it. Why?" And then he told me why he didn't like to talk about it. So, but he would constantly bring his X Games duffel bag to contests and put it by his bike in the lobby of the hotel. It's the only time you would ever see it, is when he was in the lobby of the hotel. If there were girlies around, he would put that X Games duffel bag. You wouldn't see it the rest of the weekend.
That's funny.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Let's see what Joe's got
You're
here.
from Ohio?
Yeah.
Nice. And you were around in the 80s?
I was.
Again, you're from Ohio? Where is that? And you were you around in the 80s? Because I have never heard anything about you.
You were born. You were actually born after the 80s, and you just you didn't age so well.
Everyone who rides. Who are you?
Actually, you were a counselor at Woodward. Yeah, you taught me how to 50-50 roll in.
Out of here. On the small quarter with the sandpaper paint job?
Yeah. It was the year before they had the Stonehenge ramp there.
It was awesome that year, when they first had freestyle there, in the pavement flat area that they had for all.
I think this is slow.
Okay.
Because they all seem to think that the sand, they're gonna love this sandpaper with this sand we're putting in the paint and how much traction you get. They're gonna love it, these kids.
That's funny.
But yeah, not so much.
They made a point
really?
Just by making it wood.
All right, now.
I was there in '88.
Who cares when I was there?
Yes,
very cool.
So Joe, thank you for carving out a little time, and we are thrilled. And I think you kind of know what we're going to do, but we want to give you a little oversight. So,
all right, so we can cut the meta.
So Sigmund and I were talking. This was right after COVID hit. We're just like missing the contest and missing the events. Yeah. And we're like, we should just call people and just like have these fun conversations.
Just like introduce you to like people, and then I'll tell them your name wrong, and so much fun.
This is Joe Sigmund.
And talk about stuff that we've heard and tell stories and reminisce and just all the stuff that we love about when we go to any event, whether it's a comp or an old school event or any of the things where we're just being able to sit around. And Joe likes to call it like the big boy table, right? Where it's like the conversation that you'll have with some of the people that you've known for so long. And now this is a format that's actually available for people to watch.
Yep.
And chime in and hear these stories and these confirmations of these stories or not.
I think that's important. I think that's good because it chimes into what it has become, where people can be. It's a little hard for me to think about, like I said, the big boy table. I don't want to put us up on a pedestal in any way. It's like, and you had said it in a nice way, and I can't remember, but I do remember when I toured and we did that AHA tour. So they had that poster and we were all, it was Rich Segier, Ron Wilkerson, Brian, we all had this like attitude, like we're looking away from the camera. I think maybe Wilkerson was like this, looking right at the camera.
Right.
But so when the kids would see that, they were like, wow, these guys are, they got this attitude. Then when they meet us, they're just like, wow, these are just like regular old riders. Like they totally just hung out and rode and like wanted to know what our life was like and where did they ride, and came over to our house. So I just want to kind of make sure it's like allowing someone to be a part of these conversations that they don't always have the opportunity to be a part of.
So when I was a kid, so I'll actually break this down. The magazines quite intentionally played the hero worship card in the ads.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that.
Yeah.
And that was intimidating to me. I can recall as a kid sort of asking myself, how would I get, like, am I the type who can do these tricks? Mm-hmm. Am I the type that can do these tricks? Like, do I have the juice? Do I have the vibe? Do I have the quan? Do I have the whatever, the mojo, whatever, right? And then I would see other kids in the neighborhood, and sort of a little bit messed with my head. Well, I became friends with a dude who, you know, in town rode, and I was like, well, he's pretty good. Then we got to be friends, and I was like, all right, well, you know, cool. Then I like went to the contest in Garfield Heights, and that's when I met Zach and George Clark and Joe Bellino and Chuck Amicone and all those guys. And there were a couple of dudes kind of local, like in that crew, or not in that crew, like in that group of folks who kind of took on that persona of being the one to be hero worshipped. And it was actually really freeing for me to kind of see beyond that. So very much like the point that you just made, where the tour had like, oh, I'm so serious, I'm so hero worship. But then when you met the kids, and I know you're not a jerk like that, and so I can imagine it's very frustrating for you to know this sort of dichotomy of the image that the liberal media made of these riders versus how you actually were. And the whole point of the sport was to get people stoked, and you can't get people stoked if you're positioned sort of on a pedestal. I mean, anyway, yes, I get your point.
Yeah,
And
so I think I conveyed it pretty well there. So that's the only reason why I spoke into it, is just because I think it is important that this format has allowed to have a little door opening for people to come in and sit and listen and hear this stuff. And yeah, so okay, let's continue.
Right, let's keep going.
And I think I called you at one point because I had Wilkerson out, but we're much farther along now, Joe. And
so when this was coming up, and you said, I look back at the text you sent me last night, and you said little homework, think of some crazy stories. And I'm like, oh, what is this podcast about? So I looked it up, and the first one was Bill Nitschke, his interview, which was awesome. He was driving, and that was cool. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but a bunch of it. And then the other one was, I think, episode 3, where you were talking. Who are you talking to about?
Okay, so let me take this out.
Jose Yanez and one of his buddies that.
It was James McGraw.
Oh, okay, James McGraw, yeah, and then the question about the how I did my first tail whip, and I had ants in my pants, and he's like, no, that's crazy. And then Joe, you're like, I don't know, is it crazy? Yeah, I don't know. You tell me. I mean, you never know. I mean, he could have, you flip it around, all this, you've got this thing biting at you. You never know what's gonna happen. And that, it was good. It was. Then you got playing his reaction replayed over and over again. What?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. So I got the concept for the podcast. It's great. Yeah, it's a great idea.
All right, so I think that's a pretty good segment.
I put my pants in the front yard. I must have been like 7 or 8. So I know that it's a thing.
Okay, so
do you want? Is this interesting at all? That I actually
play it again. I didn't get the whole.
All right.
I actually did have ants in my pants when I was a kid, so I can relate.
That does exist, yeah. It does.
Yeah, it was a thing. It was only once, but it was very.
Yeah, I mean, if you had ants in your pants, Joe, and that's a fact.
7 or 8.
I think it gives Joe a little bit of. See, look, he warmed up to it.
We made this in several parts because the 15-minute limit on YouTube. So check out the next one. Hit the link that you see right here.